Cecilia Louie of Paper Zen. Are you planning a party or need to give a birthday gift? If you need to hold a lot of treats, I've got the cutest little cupcake boxes for you. There's 3 flavors, lemon, cherry, and blueberry. The lid is actually locked with this little tab right here. And just take a look at all the little treats that you can store in here. You can even fit a cherry chapstick. I can't wait to show you how it all comes together. So in your files, you're going to have 3 printable PDFs for each flavor, and I show how each element corresponds with everything and what materials I used and the size. And in this case, I try to use up the entire sheet of paper with all those elements. So this is the message part of this in the middle there. I'm just going to set that and the cherry aside for now. And let's put our box together. So this is the glue tab here. I always pre-fold all my tabs and just take care not to fold that half moon. The perforation is actually on either side, but everything else is folding away from you. So I'm just going to apply some glue on this tab here. And I'm really happy that I have a fine tip nozzle so that I don't end up having glue squishing out as much on the edges. I tend to fold in another direction just to make sure I've got, everything lined up well. So there's some tabs here and there's some tabs here. These ones you'll see it actually forms like an octagon here. And I'm just going to apply glue just to this side first. And insert the bottom. Now with my left hand, I'm just going to push those tabs against the bottom and make sure that all those corners meet up nicely. And then it also helps to just push it against the table surface as well. Now all those little tabs on the inside that don't have glue, let's just glue those ones closed now. And that way we won't lose a single jelly belly. And now we can put our lid down and lock it in place. So next let's work on the frosting. You'll see here there's actually 2 types of files for the frosting, but actually it's the same thing. You're going to end up with 8 pieces of frosting in the end. This file here is for a square sheet of paper, and this one's for a rectangular sheet of paper, 5x7, 6x6. And the reason why I do that is because, again, I just want to use up as little paper as I can. The paper that I'm showing here, this pattern is actually from Recollections Fashionably Chic paper pad, and there's just a nice mix here of different patterns and colors, so it just happens to fit well on a 6x6 sheet of paper, and I use up as much of it as I can here. And then the 5x7 sheet of paper is actually from, this is a pad from Daiso, and they sell 2 types of color sections here, like assortments. This is called cold colors, this is called warm colors, and this is the smallest pack of paper that it comes in, which happens to be 5x7. And again, I'm just trying to maximize the best use of the paper. Both papers are like, this one's they're both quite thin. I would say they're bond weight, so when you go back to back, it actually creates a very nice heft to the paper. After I've cut out all my frosting pieces, I'm going to have 8 of these in total. I tend to fold them in half and stack them immediately so that I'm not going to accidentally have the tabs facing different sides. They're all going to be on the same side. So I'm going to grab one patterned piece and one non-patterned piece and glue them back to back. And mentally I'm going to remember that I'm gluing, like in this case I've taken one that's not patterned, and I'm going to remember to do that for each of these 2 pieces that I'm putting together. So now when I'm gluing them, I'm using my pinky to align right here at the base and keeping it on my table to align these 2 panels. I've got one already made here, so of the same type, so I'm going to apply glue here now. And again with my pinky here, I'm going to align those edges and use the table surface to help me align the spine. So now I've got 4 pieces here and I've got one already made. So now when I put these 2 together, I'm not going to glue right to the tip. I'm going to leave that part unglued. And again with my pinky here, I'm going to align the spine to the table and my pinky to the bottom. So now while the glue is wet, I'm going to take a highlighter and just gently curl all those pieces. After I've kind of softened up the paper that way, in this case because the paper is so light, I'm going to give it a tighter circumference with this Sharpie just to give a really nice swirl. I find that when I'm doing it with cardstock, I'm going to stay with this circumference just because the cardstock, when it's so thick like that, it can tend to buckle. That's why I prefer to take the lighter weight paper to do the frosting. And then when you fan it out, it looks just so magical. So that panel where we didn't add any glue, that's basically the halfway point between this area here. I'm going to add some glue there now, just on that part that we omitted glue. And then I'm going to insert the cherry. And because we took that extra time to put in that extra step, at this point if you want to adjust your cherry you can. I put the highlight towards the light, and this way you're not rushing trying to beat the clock with the glue. Now I'm going to add glue to the remaining flap. And just some down the spine, just for good measure. And bring those 2 flaps together. Okay, now we get to attach the frosting to the cupcake topper. Let's start by folding over all these tabs. And do you see the direction that we've curled the frosting? That's going in the same direction as these slits here. I'm going to insert one tab into the slit here and just pull it through from this side and work on the next one. And around we go. It's so funny, I've been working on this project for a few months now, and with all these mock-ups sitting around my desk, it's like a bakery spraying up next to me. There we go. So now we just apply some glue to the bottom of these tabs. Now I deliberately made these slits just a little wider because in case you wanted to use some cardstock, it makes it a little easier to slip them through. But as I do glue those tabs, I'm pushing the panel this way and leaving as much room as I can right here so that we don't see. It's more seamless on this side, and when we put it onto the same matching color, it'll hide that hole as much as it can. It's a little thing, but you know, I guess I just look at the small details. So now that they're all finished gluing, I'm going to face the cherry to me and just rest it down at the bottom here. And this is where the tab is. Make sure that they're both aligned in the same direction. And just kind of eyeball where the center of it goes. And then just take off the lock and press more securely. There you go, and there's your little cupcake box. Now if you're giving this as a birthday gift, there's a message file in your files, and so the way I put that together is I just use the glue stick and dab on the back side of the wording. And I dab rather than smear because I don't want to get any glue on the front of it. And this is the same size as the red piece, so I actually just use my fingers to align where those indentations are, and that way I know it's quite well matched up. Now if you had a rubber stamp and you wanted to say some other message on there, you can do that because this piece here is actually just slightly smaller, so if you wanted to stamp on here your message, it just looks like it's nicely outlined. But in this case we're just going to back it. Now normally I'd let this dry properly, but for the video I'm just going to show I use the same highlighter pen and just gently round it all. Gives it a nice curl. And then I would just apply glue to these ends here, and I would put it to the opposite of that tab there, and just applying some glue right on this edge and this edge here. That's how I'd glue it to that. I can't wait to hear what you do with your cupcakes.